They said wisdom was like the morning sun, no matter how many hands tried to cover it, its light will still find a way to shine. For many years, no one questioned the wisdom of Master Kondo, the most respected teacher in the village of Namo. Chiefs sought his advice. Traders brought him gifts. Parents bowed their heads when they spoke to him. Children dreamed of becoming as knowledgeable as the man who could read ancient symbols and recite the history of 7 generations. Then a boy named Tono arrived. Quiet, poor, barefoot. A boy who listened more than he spoke. A boy whose answers made elders pause. A boy whose mind burned so brightly that people began whispering, one day he may become greater than Master Kondo himself. And when those whispers reached the teacher's ears, something dangerous awoke inside him. For the first time in his life, Master Kondo was afraid. Before we begin, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more African folktales and wisdom from our ancestors. Ndamo sat between a wide river and a forest of towering iroko trees. Every morning, smoke curled from clay kitchens as women pounded yam and stirred steaming pots of pepper soup. Roosters crowed from compound walls. Goats wandered through dusty paths. Children chased each other beneath mango trees while farmers headed to the fields with hoes balanced across their shoulders. On market days, the village became a river of color. Traders spread bright fabrics across wooden stalls. Hunters displayed smoked bushmeat. Healers arranged bundles of herbs whose scents mixed with roasted corn, palm oil, and wood smoke. Drums echoed from the square while elders sat beneath the great baobab tree discussing marriages, harvests, and disputes. In Ndamo, education was sacred. The village believed that knowledge protected a people more than spears. And the guardian of that knowledge was Master Kondo. Master Kondo's school was a long mud building with a thatched roof. Children sat on wooden benches, scratching letters onto slate boards while the teacher walked between them with a carved staff. One harmattan morning, a widow named Mama Esai brought her son Tono to the school. "Master," she said respectfully, "I have little to offer except my gratitude. But my son hungers for knowledge." Kondo looked at the boy's warm clothes and dusty feet. "Can he even read?" "No, Master." Tono lowered his eyes. But before the week ended, he had learned the alphabet. Before the month ended, he could read village records. By the next planting season, he solved mathematical problems faster than students twice his age. The children stared at him in amazement. "How do you remember everything?" they asked. Tono smiled shyly. "I listen." Even Master Kondo was impressed. "This boy has a sharp mind," he told the elders. And so the village began to notice Tono. He helped farmers calculate harvest shares. He read letters for traders. He taught younger children after school. Soon people greeted him warmly in the market. One evening, during a gathering beneath the baobab tree, Chief Damba said, "Ndamo may have found a future scholar." The crowd nodded. Only Master Kondo remained silent. Each year, Ndamo held a special examination. The best students would receive the calabash of wisdom, a sacred symbol passed down through generations. The winner also earned the chance to study in the distant royal city. For 20 years, Master Kondo's favorite students had won. But this year, everyone expected Tono to triumph. At first, Kondo dismissed the rumors. "He is talented," he told himself, "but talent alone is not greatness." Yet the whispers grew louder. Tono may become the greatest scholar Ndamo has ever produced. Perhaps even greater than Kondo. Those words stung like thorns. For the first time, the teacher imagined a future where people sought the boy's wisdom instead of his own. And fear entered his heart. As the examination approached, Master Kondo began watching Tono closely. One afternoon he found the boy studying beneath an iroko tree. "Why do you work so hard?" Kondo asked. "Because knowledge can lift my mother from poverty," Tono replied. The answer should have pleased the teacher. Instead, it deepened his unease. That night rain drummed on Kondo's roof while he sat awake beside a flickering oil lamp. If the boy wins, he thought, people will say my time has passed. They will compare us. They will forget who built this school. An old proverb says, when pride enters the heart, wisdom leaves through the back door. But Kondo did not hear that wisdom. 3 nights before the examination, Master Kondo unlocked the school storeroom. Inside were sealed question tablets prepared by the Council of Elders. His hands trembled. He copied several questions onto a scrap of paper. Then he walked through the sleeping village to Mama Iesai's compound. Quietly, he slipped the paper beneath Tono's sleeping mat. When he returned home, sweat covered his face despite the cool night air. I am only protecting what I have earned, he whispered. But deep inside, he knew he had crossed a dangerous line. Drums announced the beginning of the sacred examination. Students gathered in the village square wearing their cleanest clothes. Elders sat in a circle while Chief Damba held the calabash of wisdom. The questions were difficult. Children scratched furiously on their boards. Tono answered calmly. When the examination ended, murmurs spread through the crowd. The boy answered everything. He will surely win. Master Kondo's jaw tightened. Then he stood. Before the results are announced, he declared, I must reveal a grave matter. The square fell silent. I discovered examination questions hidden beneath Tono's sleeping mat. A gasp swept through the crowd. Tono stared at him in disbelief. Master, what are you saying? I am saying you cheated. Mama Iesai stepped forward, trembling. My son would never do such a thing. Kondo raised the copied paper. Here is the evidence. The villagers erupted into shocked whispers. And in that moment, the brightest student in Namu became the most suspected boy in the village. Tono's world collapsed in a single afternoon. Friends avoided him. Parents pulled their children away when he approached. Traders who once greeted him warmly now turned their backs. At the market he heard the whispers. So the clever boy was a fraud. No wonder he knew so much. A thief of knowledge. Mama Iesai wept at night while Tono sat silently outside their hut listening to crickets and distant drums. Mother, he said softly, I swear by the spirits of our ancestors, I did not cheat. She held his face in her hands. I believe you. But belief was not enough. The elders summoned Tono before the council. Smoke from ceremonial incense drifted through the meeting hut. Chief Damba spoke gravely. Tono, if you confess, your punishment may be lighter. I cannot confess to a lie. Then how did the questions reach your mouth? Tono had no answer. Master Kondo stood with folded arms, his face heavy with false disappointment. It pains me deeply, he said, for I love this boy as a student. The performance was convincing. The council stripped Tono of his examination results and banned him from competing for the calabash of wisdom. Mama Iesai cried openly. Tono walked home through a village that suddenly felt colder than the harmattan wind. Days later, a younger student named Kofi came secretly to Tono's hut. I saw something, he whispered. Tono's heart pounded. What did you see? The night before the examination, I woke to fetch water. I saw Master Kondo near your compound. Tono froze. Are you certain? Yes. He was carrying a lamp. For the first time, a terrible possibility entered Tono's mind. Had the teacher betrayed him? Tono began searching quietly. He visited the school after sunset and examined the storeroom door. Near the lock he found fresh scratches, as if someone had opened it recently with unusual haste. Then he spoke with the village blacksmith, who repaired the school's locks. Did anyone ask you about the storeroom recently? The blacksmith nodded. Master Kondo asked whether the lock could be opened silently. Tono's blood ran cold. The pieces were beginning to fit together. But who would believe a disgraced student over the village's most respected teacher? During the annual festival of first harvest, the entire village gathered in the square. Drums thundered. Dancers spun in colorful raffia. Palm wine flowed freely. At the height of the celebration, Tono stepped into the center of the square. Chief Damba, elders, and people of Namu asked for one chance to speak. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Master Kondo's eyes narrowed. "I have been called a cheat," Tono said. "Today I will ask questions, and let truth answer." He turned to the blacksmith. "Tell the village what Master Kondo asked you." The blacksmith hesitated, then spoke. He asked whether the school storeroom lock would be opened without noise. The crowd stirred. Tono turned to Kofi. "Tell them what you saw." The boy's voice shook. "I saw Master Kondo near Tono's compound the night before the examination." Now the square buzzed with confusion. Finally Tono faced the teacher. "Master, if I stole the questions, how did I open the sealed storeroom?" Kondo's mouth opened, then closed. "And why were you at my compound that night?" Sweat appeared on the teacher's forehead. I was checking on students." Chief Damba's voice rang out. At midnight. Silence. Heavy. Crushing. Unavoidable. Then an old woman stood from the crowd. She was Grandmother Nelly, known for speaking hard truths. "Kondo," she said, "look at this village. These people honored you for years. Do not bury yourself deeper in lies." The drums had stopped. Even the wind seemed to wait. Master Kondo's shoulders sagged. For a long moment he stared at the ground. Then he spoke. "I was afraid." A stunned hush fell over the square. Afraid that the boy would surpass me. Afraid that people would forget my name. So I placed the questions beneath his mat and accused him before anyone could question my greatness. Mama Iesai covered her mouth in shock. Tono stood motionless. The great teacher had betrayed his own student. Chief Damba rose slowly. "Master Kondo, you did not merely lie. You poisoned trust, the very foundation of this village." The council deliberated beneath the baobab tree. When they returned, the chief announced the judgment. Kondo is removed as teacher of Namu. He will surrender the staff of learning and spend 1 year serving the village through labor and public instruction on honesty. Then he turned to Tono. "Your name is cleared. Your examination is restored. The calabash of wisdom belongs to you." For the first time in many weeks, applause filled the square. But Tono did not smile immediately. He looked at the fallen teacher with sadness rather than triumph. Months passed. Tono became the youngest scholar ever chosen to study in the royal city. Before leaving, he visited Master Kondo, who was repairing a footpath outside the village. The former teacher looked older, humbled by shame and hard work. "Why have you come?" Kondo asked quietly. "To thank you for the knowledge you once taught me." Kondo stared at him in disbelief. "After what I did?" "Yes. Your betrayal wounded me, but your lesson still helped me grow." Tears gathered in the old man's eyes. "I feared your light," he whispered. Tono answered gently. "A teacher's light does not grow dim because another candle is lit." Those words spread through Namu and were repeated for generations.